when the Lisbon earthquake happened, you still had a picture of evil in which evils were on a continuum, so that what they called natural and what they called moral evils were all part of the same family. Of course, they distinguished between, somebody murdering someone and an earthquake or a plague happening. But there was a sense still, first of all, that God was directly in charge of and directly intervening in everything that happened in the world, what was called particular providence. And there was a sense that fundamentally nature was alive. When the Lisbon earthquake happened, it happened at a time in which the Enlightenment was feeling more and more optimistic, and indeed you could say triumphant, about making the entire world intelligible, about there being a reason for everything that we experience, and about our eventually being able to find it. And suddenly you had this calamity, you can call it the first global disaster. It was an earthquake and what we now know as a tsunami right after it, so that you had the complete destruction of what was a major European capital, indeed a major world capital. Lisbon, by the way, never really recovered its international status after the earthquake, although it was rebuilt. You had an international capital no better or worse, and at least as important as London or Paris. And the question was, why was that suddenly destroyed out of the blue? All right? You couldn't think of it as punishment. You couldn't think of it as having a meaning. It was, particularly for people in the middle of the Enlightenment, it was a terrible shock. For old-fashioned theologians, it was, in fact, almost a gift from heaven, because for old-fashioned theologians, they could say, you see, Enlightenment, we can't explain everything. God's ways are mysterious, things happen. The only thing you can do is repent and pray and have faith and worry about the end of the world, which is in fact what they tried to do. But for people who were committed to the idea that the world as a whole is in principle intelligible, Lisbon was a total shock